The fight that ended my marriage didn't start with an accusation. It started with something small, a comment about scheduling. And by the time it was over, I realized we weren't arguing about a calendar at all. We were arguing about a woman named Diane and a marriage I didn't even know was already over. My name is Laura, and this is the story of the divorce I never saw coming, even though looking back, every sign was right there in front of me. Tom and I had been married for 9 years. We weren't the dramatic kind of couple. No big blowout fights, no simmering resentments that I was aware of. We were comfortable, maybe even a little routine, but I liked our routine. I liked knowing what Tuesday nights looked like the predictability of a life built slowly and carefully together. That predictability is exactly what made the unraveling so disorienting, because nothing about it followed a pattern I recognized. It started when Tom's company restructured and he began reporting to Diane, a director brought in from another branch to shake things up. Tom respected her instantly, the way people sometimes respect someone who represents a kind of confidence they don't quite have themselves. He talked about her constantly at first. Her strategies, her leadership style, the way she'd turned around an underperforming team in months. I didn't think much of it. Bosses come and go, I thought. This was just another one he admired. But admiration, I've learned, can be the first quiet step towards something else entirely. Tom started staying late for meetings that never used to run past 5. He started taking calls in the garage instead of the living room. Small things, easy to explain away individually, but together they formed a pattern I was too comfortable to examine closely. I told myself it was just a demanding new role. I told myself 9 years of trust doesn't erode because a man respects his boss. The fight that changed everything happened on an ordinary Thursday. I asked Tom casually if he could handle picking up his mother for her doctor's appointment the following week, since I had a conflicting shift. He snapped at me. Not just irritated, but genuinely angry, saying I always assumed he had time for everything, that I never considered how demanding his job had become. It escalated quickly, the way arguments do when they're really about something else entirely. I said something about how Diane's schedule seemed to matter more than his own family's. And that's when he went quiet in a way that told me everything before he said a single word. He didn't deny it outright, not at first. He just sat down at the table, rubbed his hands over his face, and said that things with Diane had gotten complicated. Complicated, as if 9 years of marriage could be reduced to an inconvenient scheduling conflict between two competing loyalties. I asked him directly what that meant, and after a long, heavy silence, he told me there had been a trip, there had been late nights that weren't about work at all. There had been months of something building that I had no idea was happening right under my own roof. I want to say I handled it with grace, but the truth is, that fight became the loudest, ugliest argument of our entire marriage. 9 years of unspoken frustration poured out of both of us at once, not just about Diane, but about every small disappointment we'd swallowed instead of addressing, every compromise that had quietly curdled into resentment. By the time we stopped shouting, something had shifted permanently in the room. We weren't just angry anymore. We were finished, and we both knew it. I didn't sleep that night. I lay awake replaying every version of the last 2 years, searching for the moment I should have noticed, the sign I must have missed. But grief has a strange way of clarifying things once the initial shock fades. By morning, I wasn't asking myself what I'd done wrong. I was asking myself how quickly I could build a life that didn't depend on someone who'd already checked out of ours. I filed for divorce 3 weeks later. Tom didn't fight it, which somehow hurt more than if he had. There was no dramatic custody battle, no prolonged legal war, just a quiet, efficient dissolution of 9 years, finalized with far less ceremony than the wedding that started it. Diane, as far as I know, is still his boss. Whether their relationship survived the fallout of being exposed, I genuinely don't know, and I've stopped letting myself wonder. The months after the divorce were disorienting in ways I hadn't expected. It wasn't just missing Tom. It was missing the version of my life I thought I understood. I had to relearn simple things, like how to make decisions without automatically considering someone else's schedule, how to fill a Tuesday night that used to belong to routine and now belonged only to me. But somewhere in that disorientation, I found something surprising. I found that the fight that ended my marriage also freed something in me I didn't know had gone quiet. I started saying yes to things I would have dismissed before. A solo trip, a pottery class, dinners with friends I'd let slip away during the comfortable years of my marriage. I stopped organizing my life around someone else's priorities, and slowly that emptiness I feared started filling with something that felt distinctly, unmistakably mine. If you're watching this and you've had a fight recently that felt like it was about something small but left you both changed, pay attention to that feeling. Sometimes the argument about a doctor's appointment isn't really about a doctor's appointment at all. Sometimes it's the moment two people finally stop pretending everything is fine. I didn't lose my marriage because of one argument on a Thursday night. I lost it because Tom had already chosen someone else long before that fight ever started. But that fight gave me something I needed. The truth finally, out in the open, where I could stop guessing and start rebuilding. And for that, as painful as it was, I'll always be strangely grateful.